Hi, I'm Jack Baruzzini, and you're listening to The Secrets of Stargate, where we talk about the hidden meanings and deeper layers found in the Stargate movies, TV series, and more. And joining me today are Father Cory Sticha. Hi, Father.
Howdy, Jack.
And Lisa Jones. Hi, Lisa.
Hey, Jack.
And Victor Lambs. Hey, Victor.
Hi, Jack.
It's nice to have everybody back together because it's been...
We're getting the band back together.
Yeah, six episodes since we've all been here.
Just about, yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Well, got the full crew. And today we are discussing the 8th episode of Season 6, Allegiance. The Tauri Alpha Site is hosting a group of Tokara who have fled from Anubis' forces. Tensions rise between the Tokara and the rebel Jaffa, who are suspicious of each other. When someone tries to sabotage the Nakoda generator, SG1 suspects a spy is on the base. After a Tokara and a Jafar are found dead, the tensions continue to rise until it is revealed that they were killed by an invisible assailant. The group tracks the assailant into the forest, where Braytac is attacked and seemingly killed. Sam devises a way to decloak the invisible enemy, and they are able to gun him down, with Braytac, who returns in the nick of time, delivering the final blow. The Tokara acknowledge what jerks they've been, and the Jaffa do the same. This episode ends with Braytac stating that the assailant has brought them together. I just wanted to say first that my biggest problem with this episode is that there was a huge missed opportunity, since it's essentially a kind of a soft remake of Predator. Yeah.
I see where this is going.
You know where this is going? At no point did anyone say, "Get to the Choppa Eye."
Oh.
It was right there, and they just missed it.
Get to the Choppa Eye.
I was waiting for it.
Yeah,
I didn't
know.
do it. What are your thoughts on this episode, Father?
Well, other than that bad pun, this was a two people who disagree with each other to the point that they want to kill each other. Suddenly find out that they have a third person who actually does want to kill each other, and now they're buddy and they have the hand clasp of freedom and friendship. Yeah, it was an episode. That's really all I could say about it. It was one of those where they had to overcome their differences and everything.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah, and they actually saw that they could get along and everything, but I've never really liked episodes like this, so it doesn't matter what show it's in, so.
I mean, at least they didn't spend like 20 minutes talking about their feelings, so.
Yeah, it wasn't a Star Trek Discovery episode, that's for sure.
There was no crying, so we're good. What about you, Lisa?
I'm kind of with Father Cory on this one. It's not one of my favorites. My 16-year-old, though, said, this is like space racism. Like the two groups against each other.
Spacism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did think it's interesting. I mean, you're right. We haven't really thought much about the Tokara and the Jaffa, like their history and interaction. So I liked Jacob putting it into perspective. Mm-hmm. That, you know, the Jaffa are the ones killing the Tokara for the Gould. So it had its moments I really like. It had its moments where I was like, meh. So I don't know. I think it gets a thumbs up overall, but it's not one that I watch a lot.
Yeah. It was definitely a move the plot forward episode.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Victor?
Yeah, I really like this one. It's not, one of my standout, must watch top 10 episodes, but it's solidly written. It does kind of explore that, the Jaffa would have problems with the Tokara, and the Tokara would have problems with the Jaffa. And what if you kind of, push them together in a powder keg and then a third party lights the candle, so to speak. But what really kind of puts this into like a solid win for me is Tony Amendola's performance as Master Braytac. There's just so many moments in here with a look or, with his speech at the end that just completely like knocked this one out of the park for me. Like when they're hunting the invisible Ashrak assassin who's cloaked and they see something rustling and, Braytac just like laser focuses in on it. His eyes do not move. Jack's like throwing hand signals. Tony, like, Tony Amendola is just like, focused there. Then suddenly he like moves out of the frame, to go chase it and stuff. And when he's getting, beat up by the invisible, he does that incredibly well. You're feeling for him. And then he gets like horror movie, like dragged off in like a Sam Raimi film or something into the woods. And it's all it's very solidly written. And, Peter Stebbings as Malik, and the other Jaffa who hate him, there is a lot of tension there and stuff. And so I thought that part was done very well. Again, it's not one that, would be my top 10, but there's some really solid things in it.
I feel like this was like two interesting ideas kind of smushed together. Like, I would have liked to see more of the hunting going on in the woods, and also more of the tension between the Jaffa and the Tokara, and they kind of don't really have enough time for it. So it almost feels like both things are really truncated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's goofy elements in it too.
Well,
like
you got the stereotypical security guy from the Tokara who he's just a jerk. I mean, he's not even like a security guy he's just like, I'm going to purposely go up and bully this Jaffa that has already shown aggression towards me so I can get more aggression. Yeah, that's going to work out well.
Yeah, and they do say that, every time a Tokara has died, it's been at the hands of a Jaffa pretty much. And so you can kind of see where they're coming from. And from the Jaffa's point of view, the Tokara represents the false gods that they've very recently kind of cast off. So I think there's a lot of interesting stuff there without getting into just talking about feelings. And Jack's trying to hold them together. Braytac's trying to hold them together. Malik is to some extent trying to hold them together. And so there's some nice things there. And we do get to see the Katano martial arts again, where they're doing their capoeira or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun just to see that. Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't get any Matrix style camera shots though.
No.
Probably a good thing.
And this episode kind of highlights one of my problems with the Tokara. Like, what is their end goal? Like, I don't know if they've ever really clearly talked about it. Like, they are rebelling against the other Goa'uld, but they don't seem to have a clear plan of, and we also want to liberate all the people who the Goa'uld have been ruling over for thousands of years. And they start treating the Tokara just as poorly as the Goa'uld treat them. And so it comes across, and I know I've said this many times, but the Tokara are just the Goa'uld who are not on the inside. And so they don't really have a clear direction.
Yeah. And Jack kind of calls them out on it because they used it. Well, we've been fighting them for 2 millennia. And he goes, yeah, what do you have to show for it?
Yeah. How's that going? Yeah.
That was great.
And I love that how SG1 is, Stargate has done that so many times where it's like Tokara's getting all high and mighty. Well, we've been fighting this fight for so long as we've been at this for 5 years and we've already wiped out half the system lords. Give me a break.
Yeah, the Tokara are kind of like the Republicans. Just like kind of the managed opposition party.
Yeah.
To pretty much. Goa'uld system lords.
Pretty close, yeah.
No, I'm just, but they are pretty much just there. They're just to be not Goa'uld, And oh boy, we really hate those Goa'uld, so we're going to start our own like He-Man Women Haters Club and have meetings and stuff and secret bases.
Start your own Goa'uld with blackjack and other things.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Well, and Jack admits it. I mean, to Jacob. Jacob says, "You don't like us very much, do you?" And he's like, "Nope."
Yeah,
I don't.
Well, no, he goes, "Well, I like you."
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. He likes Jacob. I don't think he likes Selmac.
Selmac, yeah.
No.
And they really put this both on both the Jaffa and the Goa'uld, or the Tokara, but a little Freudian slip there, I guess.
Yeah.
The Jaffa have a lot of legitimate grievances, and obviously being violent is not what they should go for, but they're there. They've given up pretty much everything they have. A lot of them have left families, and now they're being treated like this by the Tokara, and they're the ones who are dying en masse trying to fight against it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I just feel like it would have been fun to explore that more. And I don't know if the show goes into that more, but I think the tension there's a lot of really good seeds of different things you could explore.
When you think about it, we don't see the two groups together. I mean, up until now, I think I read that this was the first episode with Braytac and Jacob in it together. which seems so odd when you think
don't they have
about
some
it.
wacky team ups after this?
Yeah.
I think they're leading up to like a big climactic act, if I recall, but I haven't seen that one in 20 years. So.
Right.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen past this episode, but this is kind of the point where the Tokara and the Jaffa come to at least some arrangement, some accommodation, even if it's not a perfect one, I agree. I think this could have been a better episode if they could have fleshed out the conflict between the two groups and had them kind of work through it instead of, again, this, we've got a common enemy that's here now that we can kill, not the common enemy that's out there that we can kill, but the one that's actually seeking to kill us.
The common enemy was misunderstanding and prejudice.
Yeah, exactly.
The more you know.
The more you know. No, and I mean, we do get, so they go off into the woods and we get this, like a member of, we've already learned that one SG team has been wiped out helping evacuate the Tokara. So Tauri blood has been spilled to get these Tokara there. I think there were Jaffa involved in the rescue effort as well. And then, when they break up to hunt the invisible assassin, they come across a team. They're paired up tripled up into teams of, one human Tauri, one Jaffa, and one Tokara. And they find one of the teams just completely like dead, and not just like killed where they stood, but like killed and then like dragged into a, in a little triangle. So
like posed together.
Yeah. And so when Braytac gets attacked and then, Malik is just kind of like standing back, like, I'm not going to get in there, type thing. And then he apologizes at the end, which I thought was really nice, and Braytac, you saved my life twice. I'm sorry. Can you ever forgive me? And Braytac's like, and then he gives a very, very nice speech, and it's worth watching just for his speech at the end, because I thought that was like really well written. Like he held up the assassin's knife and is like, this knife has spilled the blood of the Tauri, the Jaffa, and the Tokara. This knife did something that none of us could. It made us all brothers, and with this knife, we'll never spill our blood again. And it's made us our bond unbreakable. So it's a really good, I'm paraphrasing the last part there, but it's a really, really good speech. And so, like I said, Braytac's, Tony Amendola's performance in this is pretty much the reason to watch this one, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I admit, I did kind of laugh when he got sucked into the vines, though, or the brush. That look on his face is kind of like, it's behind me, isn't it?
Yeah.
Again, like you mentioned, like from a horror movie or whatever. You just kind of had that look on his face, and all of a sudden slides in.
Yeah, like I've been out Braytac'd.
Yeah,
and he conveniently does not have his throat cut or his spine broken like the others.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that because I like Braytac.
Yeah, and the assassin kills people in very like species specific ways, like the Tokara. They a very nice X-ray of like the Tokara with the symbiote in it. Like it's like with this one, like he just poked him right in the back of the neck, severed the human spinal cord and the Gould spinal cord. So he knows what he's doing. And then the Jaffa, he like stabs him up so that you get the symbiote, and then the symbiote blood goes into the host. So they put some thought into how knife wounds could be specifically tailored. I mean, probably more thought than I would put into it if I was writing this episode. Just saying.
Hopefully they didn't do demonstration models.
With ballistics gel or something like those awful YouTube videos where they have like the leaky bags in them, and you're like, stop this.
They have actual skull in it. And no.
But was anybody really yelling at their TV at the Tokara, just sitting there with his Zat gun, not doing anything?
I think his problem was that he didn't really know what he could do, because he might hit Braytac and then they can't really see the guy.
But a Zat gun, just shoot like the area with a Zat gun once. And,
you just knock him out. It might take out his shield. I mean, I'm just saying. It was
it's not like Star Trek phasers where they could just do wide beam, But let's stun everybody in this room. Bam!
Yeah. They've done it before where they've shot Jack, right? And that affected the bugs around him. There is some area effect to his
disrupted the energy or whatever. Yeah. And
reverse the polarity of the neutron flow on the suit or something.
Yeah.
He's just sitting there, and you're going, okay, I already don't really love the Tokara, and now it's like Braytac, and you're just, and then he gets sucked into the woods, and you hightail it and run the other way. Really?
Well, it actually fits the Tokara. Yeah. You look at the Jaffa, they're like, I saw the enemy over there, so I'm going to fire everything there, even though I know the enemy isn't actually there. And the humans are, Jack going all Rambo with the chain gun,
Yeah.
Yeah, that
literally
part was-
doing a 360 degree. Bop, 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 bop.
Oh my gosh, yeah, the firing control, it was horrible. Like when they first they realized that hunting this thing is not going to work, so they're just like, let's just stack up everybody in front of the gate because the guy can't get through 30 of us. And so the guy starts to get through 30 of them, and they all have this idea like, let's just shoot in every direction. So of course, like, they're shooting each other, which is very realistic because they're not trained, to fight together. So, but I can forgive that. But then Jack at the end, as you said,
he's literally lighting up the alpha site. They're gonna have to completely rebuild the alpha site after Jack is done. I mean,
Well, and hang on, if he tells everyone to get down and he's going to shoot in a circle, why would the bad guy not get down? I mean,
yeah.
come
Because
on.
it looks cool. That's why.
Because it looks cool.
The only thing I can figure is that they needed time to fix the reactor because the Naquita reactor has been changed to emit like a 440 nanometer pulse or something to light up the guy. And the only thing I can figure is like the guy's already attacked it once. He's coming back to stop them from fixing it. But if Jack just slows him down by like making the guy duck or having to hide. But of course he's shooting right into the woods where he doesn't know it. But Braytac is, he's probably like hobbling back to camp. He's like, oh, I'm almost there. And then all of a sudden, like these big, huge
Bullets go flying by him.
Yeah. They could have also solved this with like a super soaker full of paint or a paintball gun or something.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. You could have done Splatoon.
Yeah.
There we go. But hey, you got it.
I will say there was one scene, I think it was Jack, where it was a 360 degree pan around him.
Yes.
And he was turning around, and he's always facing the camera, and he's panning around. And it was such a cool scene because you see the entire site and everything that's going on from his perspective.
Yeah, so this was written and directed by Peter DeLuise, and I think it's one of the first ones we've seen, except for maybe, I don't know if Ergo was written by him as well, but it's one of the first ones we've seen, I think, that he's written and directed, if I'm not mistaken.
I thought it was the first one.
Okay, yeah, so I think, he usually, when he'll write an episode, even when he directs it, he'll put a lot of like firefights in it and stuff, and so we got a lot of that in this, but also, I don't know if the story was completely his idea or if it came out of the writer's room and stuff like, oh, we need to get the Tokara and the Jaffa together.
Right.
But
right.
I don't know. I thought it worked.
Because if you remember, they thought this was their last season.
Yeah.
So I think
that's right,
I think there's a lot of stories like this that are coming out because it's one of those, they've had the idea and they just didn't know where to put it. And so it's kind of like Jack finally getting a Tokara. It's like, okay, now we got to do all the things we talked about. And let's just stick all these stories in one season. So it kind of makes it fun though, because you get a lot of stories that are different than the previous seasons.
Yeah, there's definitely been a lot more variety in this season than there has in like the past two. So I've been enjoying that a lot.
Oh, but no Jonas.
Yeah, he's back home. He's like, I can come through the gate, and they're like, nah, we don't need you.
He gets the 2-minute scene with General Hammond, so at least they both get paid to be in that episode.
I'm surprised Jonas wasn't standing there at SG like with a big old sandwich or something. I could come as soon as I finish eating this turkey leg.
Big turkey leg. Yeah, that'd be,
And he didn't really have a lot to do in the previous episode either. So I think this is just they don't know what to do with 4 main characters in one episode.
Or if these were kind of like written out after Daniel died and they hadn't really maybe committed at the point where they were writing these, committed to a replacement and they couldn't find a way to like shoehorn him in or something.
Yeah.
Maybe it was one that Daniel was going to be offsite anyway. Like they didn't have a spot for. Of course, you think about it, they have the 3 main characters, and then you also have Braytac and Jacob. Right. I mean, you got a lot of really important characters in this episode.
And a lot of times these because they take so long to film these seasons, especially back then when they were 20, 22 episode seasons, that people would take time off. The actors would take time off in the middle. So this could have been his time off. But they were able to, okay, before you go, film the scene with Don S. Davis,
Yeah.
and you can go.
Yeah. Plus Ragnar's back.
Yeah.
So we get Ragnar. That's cool. And they do make a reference that most of these Jafar are the ones who like were followers of Katano before you blasted his base and stuff. So thought that was a good callback too.
They actually had quite a few callbacks to previous episodes. I mean, at least like 5 or 6 different episodes.
Yeah.
We get Chekhov's Zaytark detector.
Yeah.
It's like the hair comes through. It's like, careful with that Zaytark detector. Whoo, boy, we'd hate to have anything happen to that, wouldn't we? And you're like, okay,
we might need that. Wink, wink.
That's such a random thing when they have it come through and they're like, "What is it?" And it's a Zaytark detector. You're like, what?
And then,
what? Like, why?
So the audience will remember what a Zaytark detector is.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it should have been a clue right then. Like, oh, we're gonna do that again.
Well, and it was like the security guy didn't want anybody to see it, and it's like, okay, so this is some top secret, Tokara technology we haven't seen yet. No, it's the lie detector. Never mind.
Yeah.
And it doesn't pay off at all because like they're like, oh, the Jaffa will be horribly offended if we do this. Could really ignite the whole thing. Is like just do the Zaytar, okay, and then it doesn't pay off. And what they actually needed were Ritu detectors to detect the
so where were those?
And they even called out not having those.
I feel like that should be standard at your alpha site. Like this is kind of your backup. You should have everything there.
Just like all the things that they do, the sounds they got to play and the blood tests they got to draw and the scans with the Ritu detectors. You should be doing those at Alpha Site as well, not just at SGC.
When you come through they need to just build like some sort of tunnel. So when you come through the Stargate, you got to walk through like a battery of tests before you're even out of that.
Yeah. Kind of like at the airport. You got to stand there.
There's some, medical technician airman whose job is literally just to poke them for the blood draw. And that's his whole shift. He just stands down in this tunnel in his little alcove. Next.
Oh no, I was thinking of Total Recall, like the X-ray thing that everybody has to walk through, like the big X-ray
there you
tunnel.
go.
Yeah.
You could even put a conveyor belt in it, have it be like one of those moving sidewalks.
Like the Jetsons.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, and another wacky technology moment is Major Pierce. The Ashrak steals his GDO.
Oh yes.
And this becomes like the big like General O'Neill. Colonel O'Neill. He's got my GDO, and you're like, okay, that's great. So just tell the SGC that one has been stolen and don't accept that code anymore. But they don't it's like, no, now that he has it, he can get into Earth because the Iris is still manually activated. You're like, oh, okay, well, that's the one that was stolen. Just delete that one out of the system.
Yeah. Just blacklist it in your database and you'll be fine.
And then change the,
well, they don't even have to do that. They just put a little sticky note on the monitor. If SGC or SG1 number 3 shows up, don't accept it.
Yeah. Post-it notes.
Yeah. I mean, you don't even have to blacklist it. Yeah.
I assume they'd have some sort of like firewall in place. So if you get that signal come across, it's just deny it and you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would hope.
No, it could just be like, you go to some like bars and restaurants where people bounce checks and they've got do not accept checks from behind the register. Do not accept GDO codes from.
I really liked the burial scene where they used the Kwoosh from the Stargate to kind of commit their bodies to the sea.
Yeah,
that was fun to see.
That was nice.
That definitely cremation, that's for sure.
Yeah.
They could that makes me think they could use that technology to like deal with landfills and like e-waste and stuff. Just throw it in the Kwoosh and it's gone.
Yeah, I mean, like they use it to deliver grain, right? The Ashen do. So maybe the Ashen just like brought the Stargate over like a landfill and just like sat it there and just like whooshed down through it. Yeah. Like where would it go though? I mean,
does it get? I guess it gets vaporized or.
It's supposed to like anything that's in the way of the Kwoosh gets just completely annihilated. I mean, it's not even like. You're now a vapor cloud. No, it's like you're gone. You don't
just
exist
energy
anymore.
or something.
It's like zatting it 3 times.
You get turned into energy, I think. Yeah.
There was a Jack Black movie about a guy who invented something that took care of like dog poop, and it was called Vaporize, and you sprayed it on it and it just like disappeared. But then there was like this, it was like kind of like the Steve Martin movie, The Jerk. There was like this whole big controversy, like, where does it go? And like nobody could answer where it went. And so that's kind of like the Kawoosh.
Maybe
it's not a very good movie.
Never heard
It's called
of it.
Envy. It had, I think Ben Stiller was in it too.
It's one of those.
Black Ben
movies.
Stiller. Yeah, that doesn't sound like a good movie at all.
Probably came out in 2004.
I think you might be right.
That just sounds like that's the kind of movie that would come out in that year.
2004. By the man.
Wow.
Yeah.
What prize did you win?
Prize
Yeah.
you
Right on the money.
you don't have,
You have to
watch
go watch
Envy.
it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll avoid that one.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some sort of like alternate dimension that everything that's ever been Kwooshed like falls into. That
Oh,
could
yeah.
be a new idea they could explore. And there's like some sort of
There you
dimension
go.
that's been decimated by just waste from Earth. And now they're
That-
mad and they're going to come through the Stargate at us.
That's
Oh,
the
the-
new series. You hadn't heard
Yeah,
yet?
exactly.
Yeah.
Written by AI.
Yeah.
Strike.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
So the aggressive Jaffa guy, the blonde, he was in an episode, last year before?
I think so,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Because it said 2 episodes on his
Yeah.
page.
So he was lieutenant. So speaking of Kawooshed, he was Lieutenant Barber, who committed suicide in the Kawoosh
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
in the
yeah.
episode The Light.
Oh.
After, remember, he was suffering from withdrawal and he
Mhm.
went into it. So that's 2 episodes he's been in 2 episodes and he died in both.
Yeah.
That's not
He's
a good track record.
I mean, I guess he's just the good disposable character you can
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I
rinse and
think
repeat.
he's in Atlantis or Universe, but I can't remember which one. So now I have to wait and watch to see if
Oh,
he
yeah.
dies there too.
Yeah, he plays the maybe he just has to get reincarnated into all the different characters.
Yeah.
He's in the episode, he's in Stargate Atlantis, the episode Progeny, but he's
Yeah.
uncredited
Okay.
Oh, okay.
because he is a frozen Assyrian. So,
Oh,
Oh.
okay.
So I guess that could be dead, killed.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
killed, you know.
Yeah, depending on if he's one of the ones that gets revived. It doesn't sound like it, so. Yeah.
so he's just going down the ladder of importance in the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's dead before the story even starts.
Yeah.
I always wonder with that when you have an actor who's been in other episodes of the same show and then they have like an uncredited role. It's like, were you just at the same lot that day filming something else? And they're like, hey,
Right.
come over here for 10 minutes and you can be an extra.
Yeah, or they could be like stunt people too or something. I don't know. I don't know.
Sure.
if he
I think
was
it
or
has
not.
to do with the tiered like pay schedules
Oh,
and
yeah.
the way they do that, whether they get credited or not.
Mm. Yeah,
Well,
and if you
there
don't have
is-
a line.
There is some of that where, because so many shows, especially at this time, were filmed at one studio, just like going back to when you had the big studios in Hollywood, where, yeah, they could say, oh, you've got a day off. Well, can we have you come do a scene? You know,
Mhm.
Mhm.
just come do a quick scene or do, fill in for this episode or, something like that.
Yeah. We need a bunch of extras.
That's like because so much sci-fi was and still is filmed all around Vancouver.
Mhm.
Like if in all the Stargate episodes where you got people running around in the woods in military outfits with machine guns, like it's pretty much indistinguishable from a lot of episodes of Battlestar Galactica if you're not really paying attention.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Same kind of thing.
Yeah. And I think there were a lot of shows. This was filmed at Bridge Studios.
Hmm.
And I think there were a lot of shows filmed there at the time.
Well, yeah, that was this was during the big time with Vancouver. Now Vancouver is starting to get too expensive to film. So now they're moving to Toronto.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All the Star Treks are filmed in Toronto now.
Oh, funny. Well, at least it doesn't look like Vancouver Woods anymore.
No,
True.
no,
yeah.
now it looks like the Ontario woods.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or they just set an episode in Toronto back in time and
Yeah,
save even more money.
Okay.
yeah. It's actually a good episode, but
Oh, it was, yeah. But maybe, I felt like it was almost kind of a wink to that whole thing.
Oh, it totally was. There was a scene where they first show up as, well, I think it looks like it's New York City circa, and there's a big sign that says Toronto Center behind
Yeah.
them.
Oh, is this a Strange New Worlds thing or?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's a different show.
Yeah.
Yep. But no, that's like, Vancouver stands in for so many different cities,
Mhm.
Colorado Springs and whatever major metropolis in North America.
And then a lot of stuff is filmed in Atlanta and around Atlanta. I think like pretty much all the Marvel stuff, that's where they filmed that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you get that little Georgia Peach logo at the end.
I don't think I've ever sat through the credits of a Marvel movie, which is probably heresy because you're supposed to, but
Well, you got to see the see the
I
Stan
don't
Lee
care.
closer.
Get to see the commercial for the next movie. Yeah.
I've seen the movie. If I want to watch the next one, I'll just watch it. I don't know what's going on anyways at this point, so I don't know why there's a raccoon who can talk. I'm just going to go with it.
Yeah.
Anyways, do we have any good alternate language episode titles for this, Victor?
Yeah, most of them. The interesting one is French this time. So most of them were like allegiance or loyalty, but French, and I'm going to horribly butcher this, but l'union fait la force, which means unity is strength. And interestingly enough, that is the motto of the country of Belgium: unity and strength, or strength and unity. And I guess this was kind of an allegory for Belgium, where you have like two different peoples who really can't stand each other and are kind of forced to be together in one country.
Oh, I thought that was Canada.
No, that's the Walloons and the Flemish people. But
Canada,
I won't get on my
Canada has
soapbox.
Quebec and everybody else.
Yeah.
So
I won't get on my soapbox of Flemish nationalism, though. So we'll just.
Do y'all have any other thoughts on this episode?
One thing we did say, it was nice to see the Alpha site.
Yeah, it was.
Got shot up.
Yes, after all this time.
and apparently that shot, like Joseph Malazzi's comment, he didn't like Braytac's speech, but he did say that the scene with Jack and the machine gun went on for like 2 or 3 times longer than actually what made it into the episode.
Oh, I'm sure.
They're probably like, we're going to use these blanks and we're just going to film as much as we can.
Yeah.
Get some different angles.
Yeah.
That's interesting, though, because like with semi-automatic rounds, I've heard that you have to either rig up a special round because it's the force of, the projectile going out that kicks the, the shell back into the extractor and stuff and chambers the next round. And so I don't, they would have to have maybe just some guy there like throwing rounds up.
Well,
or something.
blanks do have like a
cap
packing in the front of
Okay.
it. So that can, as long as the gun is set up for the level, the pressure, because the gas pressure coming out is not going to be as much. But as long as it's set up that it's enough to cycle the weapon, then it'll be fine.
Okay, maybe that's what they did.
Actually, that was when I was on Air Force, the base honor guard I was at in the Air Force. We started with M16s, and we had to manually cycle it because they were just off the shelf standard issue M16s, so they weren't recalibrated for the lesser round. Then we got some M1s that were actually designed for it. So.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Because a blank is just like the back cartridge part, but without the projectile in the front, right?
Correct.
Basically.
But there's still, like I said, there's still a little packing, figure like a little piece of cardboard or something in the front to still, make it so it makes the noise at least.
I should make it like those champagne poppers that like you pull and like the streamers come out or something. That would be fun if Jack had one of those.
Little champagne poppers
shooting streamers.
That would have been more effective. It could have like draped over him and be like, "Oh no, I'm undone by streamers."
One time when we were kids, me and my brothers took like 20 of those and like built like a battery out of them and just tied a bunch of strings to them.
Yeah.
So we just pulled them all at once.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, that and launching bottle rocket engines through a 20-foot piece of PVC tube, but without the actual rocket. We just had the engine, so we'd light it, stick it in there, and launch it off. We lived on like out in the country. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say that you'd have to, or in Michigan nowadays, where like within a few days of any holiday, you can shoot up pretty much anything you want.
Yeah,
yeah,
Montana too.
Nice, awesome. Y'all have any other thoughts about the episode? Any other thoughts about Flemish nationalism?
No, but I think I'm in enough trouble with that already. have the Valone assassins coming to invisible Valone assassins coming to my house. And
well, keep a lookout for them. Keep some paintballs handy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we go, we'd like to take a moment to thank our patrons who make it possible for us to create The Secrets of Stargate, including Iris V, Sean B, Gretchen L, Father Anthony G, and Michael P. Their generous donations at sqpn.com/give make it possible for us to continue The Secrets of Stargate and all the shows at StarQuest. And you can join them by visiting sqpn.com/give. And be sure to follow the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or on the SQPN YouTube channel. And to find previous episodes of Secrets of Stargate and to send us feedback, please visit sqpn.com/Stargate, where you can email us at stargate@sqpn.com or follow StarQuest on social media at facebook.com/StarQuestMedia or on Twitter at SQPN. And we'll be back next time when we'll be discussing the next episode of SG1, Cure. Friday, I'm in love. Until then, Father Cory. Had to. Until then, Father Cory, thank you for joining me and sharing the secrets of Stargate.
Thank you much.
And Lisa Jones, thank you as well.
Thanks, Jack.
And Victor Lambs, thank you too.
Thanks, Jack. And this is a funeral for crying out loud.
I've heard that too many times in my life. It's kind of hard. And once again, I'm Jack Baruzzini. Thank you for listening to The Secrets of Stargate on StarQuest.
Anyway, I'm sorry, but that just happens to be how I feel about it. What do you think?
I think we need to have like a side show called Secrets of Belgium with Victor, and you can just go on rants about Belgian history.
Belgium. When the French would invade, we would get the boiling oil and put it on our castles, and when they would come through the gate, we'd dump it on them, and that is how we invented the French fry. Actually, Belgian tell me that.
I was wondering where that was going.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.